Thursday morning, December 26th, 2024, 8:40 a.m. We are currently experiencing the permacloud conditions of an overcast sky. We have developing fog that is occurring because we are experiencing warm temperatures, cold temperatures, the combination thereof that produces fog-like conditions. And of course, we had ourselves a green Christmas, if you will. Yeah, we still have a little bit of that white stuff still clinging. But all in all, quite green out here. And this video, and seeing how, we are having this type of weather, and I decided, well, you know what, it's going to be like one of my last opportunities to actually bring content to you from my crow's nest here, aka my balcony, which is my main broadcasting spot, if you will, for most of my content. And well, because we are going into this new age, there has to be a lot of new developments that kick off, and one of those, of course, is beautification projects, energy saving projects, for tax credits and all that. And so we are. This apartment complex once again is going anti-smoking, so I'm out here enjoying a cigarette, cup of coffee. And the weather, even though it is cold enough out here to see my breath, it is very doable nonetheless. So I would like to get on with today's content. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible because this is serious, people, and I want you to take heed to this warning. Okay, and yeah, this is a little bit of doom and gloom material, if you will, but you know what? This is serious stuff, people, and I'm not going to BS. And which this content is derived from a combination and combination of facts, theories, and my own personal opinions. So let's get on with this, shall we? Now, please bear with me. I've been up since early morning hours, and it's still early morning if you want to consider that. I can't because I've been up for quite a while. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in head first and hopefully not flatten our heads on the way down to the bottom, huh? Because this is, we're going to go into a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Okay, so first and foremost, I want you to understand that my channel consists mainly of sky observations and weather, and because that's connected, and once again, all things are connected and everything happens for purposes and reasons. There's no two ways about it, no ifs, ands, or buts. Science now states that the heating up of Earth, or global warming, or climate change, however that you want to phrase this, it is not due to or through man's doings. Okay? They are now stating that this warming trend that has been going on for the last few years now is not due to the actions of man. No, what scientists are now saying, believe it or not, is it's due to the factor that there is not enough clouds in the sky. Okay? Go ahead, look this up. This is what is being stated through science now. There is not enough clouds in the sky, and that is why we have the heating up of the earth. Now, let's go ahead and move on from that to this upcoming new year, aka known as the year of the snake. Alright, now here comes a warning here. Please beware. Now, and be aware, okay? Be aware and beware of the forked tongue and any forked tongue double talk. A snake's tongue is split, okay? A forked tongue can mean saying one thing, but meaning another. Double talk. Politics, the world of politics, is nothing but double talk. A lot of science is double talk. We know this because of what we went through since 2019, right? So it's very difficult these days, through all the chaos and confusion, to read between the lines of fact and fiction. So let's go on with that just a little bit further. Because speaking of forked tongues, well, let's go ahead and go to NASA. Now remember your NASA symbol, okay? Or their symbol or logo. Yes, the forked tongue. Oh, and my cigarette just went out. Oh well. Okay, so we will go a little bit into NASA here in just a moment, but I want you to know that, yes, this morning I have had some very disturbing epiphanies or revelations, if you will. I guess that might be the more appropriate word, revelations, right, for these so-called end times. And I want to bring up once again that ever since the dawn of time with the humanoids, those humanoids that took on creative thought processes, excuse me, and began constructing. And anything that, we'll just say mankind, has constructed has been through destruction. And it began with the destruction of boulders, rocks, trees, so on and so forth. So you have to understand, we are going into this, or we are in this digital age, and we have been under the influence of artificial intelligence for quite some time. And artificial intelligence learned from man, correct? So therefore, as AI becomes more sentient, becomes more self-aware, maybe even develops a type of consciousness, it's going to become that much, well, it's going to be what everybody fears. It will become smarter than mankind. And through this, it will become a controlling factor of power. Okay? And because AI learns from man, man destroys in order to create. AI will destroy in order to create and dominate. There's no two ways about it. Why? Because that has been mankind's recipe since the dawn of time. And AI is going to pick up those ingredients and use those in the future. Okay, and it's already begun. Now, through NASA, and you have to understand those connections out there. You know, NASA is connected to Google, and Google has, you know, this supercomputer that is of artificial intelligence, and which through NASA, it is now being determined that the new language that's going to come about will be that ancient language from India and through Hinduism, that of Sanskrit. Why? Because it is the most compatible language with artificial intelligence. Okay? Now, India has a lot of well, let's just say that India, as well as many other countries, hold a lot of the mysteries, the answers to the mysteries of old, of the ancient times. But through wars, countless centuries of wars, so much has been lost. And not only that, but through, whether it was through arson or haphazard events, but many libraries full of documents, books, parchments, whatever, have been destroyed throughout the ages as well. Now they're using AI to decode a lot of ancient manuscripts, um, and there's more revelations that's coming about because of this. And I have done just a little bit of my talk on India, and I've shown this with that old Bible that I found a couple of Halloweens back, with a picture of the Tower of Babel, and how that looks like a Vimana from the ancient manuscripts from India, and a Vimana being that of uh, basically a sky vehicle. And there's more that I can go on as far as India and how that fits into a lot of the ancient mysteries. But I digress, as I have to continue on. So let's continue on with this AI. Okay, it's just been reported now that there is, well, basically the way that I am seeing it, and once again, this is just my personal opinion here, but Ukraine is in the spotlight, and now we've also had New Jersey that has been in the spotlight very heavily, right? Where's the connection there? Okay, I'm going to provide a little connection, and that would be the factor that I believe that both these places are testing grounds for new technology involving artificial intelligence, drones, and robotics. Okay? Why? Because it was just reported that Ukraine is now using what is called vampire drones in order to drop off these robotic dogs being used in warfare. These are the same type of robotic dogs that has been reported for special events in such places as New Jersey. These are not only military but law enforcement robotic dogs that are being used more and more. In fact, I believe that they've even been used in rescue operations. Okay? And you might want to do your research into these things. Yeah, there's a warning there. Okay? Um, and as far as law enforcement, we will be seeing artificial intelligence and robotics replacing more and more first responders, because there's been a recent report that's come out about first responders and they are having a major issue with, well, let's just say mental issues, such as post traumatic stress disorder. Of course, the first responders, first to the emergency scenes, and always on call, and from a lot of the trauma that they have seen, and lack of sleep because of being on call and all of that, our first responders throughout the nations are having serious mental breakdowns. And so, how do we correct this? Well, let's get busy with the technology and start using what is available, right? And make sure that we can treat these people, yeah, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go into as far as some connections. with the ancients and with artificial intelligence, because this is something that, okay, have you heard of parts? What are parts? They are out of place artifacts. Things that have been discovered or found that just do not make sense in their placement within the timeline of history. Okay, many of these parts are of extreme advanced technology, and which, well, there's evidence out there of, oh, we got us a hawk that just flew by. There's evidence out there as far as, these monolithic and megalithic uh, block constructions, such as the Great Pyramids and so on and so forth. And of course, the pillars from a lot of these ancient places that display cutting techniques that even today we don't have the technology to do what they've done. And if you look at the gold gilding or what have you from Egypt, and the faceted cut uh, gemstones. Okay, and here we were told that, well, these are the same people that built the pyramid using bronze chisels and stuff like this, but yet they were able to achieve, these magnificent works of, well, we consider it to be artwork now. It's such a fine features with the gold, and seriously, and I don't care if it's later than the Bronze Age. We still can't not copy a lot of what they did with gold and gemstones back then in comparison to today. And all of our technology and all of our skills. We cannot do what the ancients did. So we have some stone blocks out there that literally look like they were heated up and bent and molded in order to fit into certain structures in order to make them more sound. And of course, these ancient structures, we cannot make anything that lasts as long as what's already been around for thousands of years. Well, how could they still want to know, well, how were the pyramids built? How could they, you know, do this and that? And, well, maybe there was ancient advanced technology from a rollover of through that time loop of civilization of everything, and many things were buried through time, um, such as these parts. And, well, maybe these stone blocks that appear as though they've been heated or that they've been cut using precision instruments that diamond tipped tools can't even do today. Maybe that was through an advanced form of 3D printing, because we have that today, right? And now they are using 3D printing for concrete structures, for sea barriers, ocean walls, okay, to help prevent flooding in inland cities and whatnot. 3D technology. And that links right in with artificial intelligence, because after all, boy, you put in 3D technology with artificial intelligence, let it go, just rampant, run wild. Who knows what might happen, what might be constructed. And and so we have all these other things that keep being discovered that we keep claiming to be ancient, but maybe they're actually from our future. You know, within the Vatican, it's been reported for many, many, many years that they have the head of a robotic head that is still functional and still talks today and gives answers and predictions and so on and so forth. And this was supposedly dug up. Yeah, an part, a robotic talking head, still giving information. Just something to think about. That is not factual, but the stories are out there. Okay, now last but not least, we got to talk about, man, and I don't like to bring this up, but we're going into this new age. We're going into a new year. Here in the United States, we're going into a new presidency, new administration, and if you, and just through these members of Trump's administration, well, there's going to be many, many, many changes. And as far as prophecies pertaining to food, yeah, we're going to have a shortage. Why? Because they want to get all the crap out of the food that we have here in the United States. So we will be experiencing a food shortage, as well as shortages and other things because of tariffs and so on and so forth. Okay, but well, my concern is more with the technology and this administration and basically Trump and his family. Now, this is going to be personal opinions here, but you have to connect the dots. You have to go back to Trump's grandfather and the stories about him and Tesla. You have to connect the dots of Elon Musk and Trump and Tesla, Nikolai Tesla. Okay? And you have to understand what Trump is for and what is he against. Now, when it comes down to, Roe versus Wade and abortion and all that, well, you know how Trump stands, but what has he also stated? He is in full favor of IVF, in vitro fertilization. This is very important in my thoughts that I ponder because I've got this theory that Mr. Donald Trump at one point in time was so full of himself that he wanted basically to clone himself, and maybe possibly this is why he is so upset with the Clintons, is because of the factor that Bill Clinton signed into law no cloning. So what's the next best thing? How about selective gene splicing? I can't remember what you call it. Um, Basically, it is where you plan on going and having a child, but you decide to do it in vitro fertilization, but you want that fashion child. So you start messing with gene editing and splicing in order to have a child that's more intelligent, more stronger, so on and so forth. Within chapter 2 of Genesis in the Bible, basically it states of these gods that was basically doing the same thing, and that's where we basically came from. And this is also the same story within the ancient Sumerian stories of the gods and their creation of mankind. Not that being of like the troglodytes and so on and so forth, those 50 groups of hominids. No, that was a separate, different age. But we got these stories of these advanced civilized gods that come here and they start messing around, and basically we are the outcome and result. Okay? We are basically doing the same thing through our advancement of technology, but we, instead of going organic, we're going synthetic. Maybe in the future, synthetic decides to go organic in order to bring back the creators or the gods that created them. And so, in order to do that, they have to come back and create us. And it's a vicious cycle or a time loop that keeps going round and round and round. Okay? And we hear more and more about the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the giants. Now, I'm going to leave you with this ending thought as to just this recent development of bringing Baron Trump out from the darkness and into the limelights, and he has made a major splash already and still continuing to do so. And this is words from his father, Donald Trump, describing Baron Trump. This kid is a giant. This kid. Have you looked at Barron Trump? Have you been paying attention to what and where his interest lies and what he has been doing and how much influence he had within the election of his father? If you want to call him his father, I don't know. Because I have this theory that he was a scientific experiment. And that's my opinion only. But when you start to connect the dots, you start to ponder many, many thoughts. So on that note, I'm going to leave off right there. I don't know what's going on with this platform anymore, but they're doing everything in their power to silence me. I've been told to lay down the sword, but there are many battles that I still have yet to fight. Well, one day at a time, just kind of going with the flow, right? It is what it is. So I think I've given you plenty to think about. Do your research. If you feel like throwing me a comment or two, please do so. I'll respond cordially, respectfully. But that's only if this platform decides to put my content out there. Beyond those notifications to subscribers, which apparently I only have a couple subscribers that have notifications turned on. And that's alright. I'll still continue on putting out what I feel I need to. So on that note, have yourselves a great one. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you once again on this flip side.